to my Talking Kid vs. Cat podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Demon Cat, and today's a special one, because guess what? Some random Kid vs. Cat fan saw my comment about me making my own Kid vs. Cat comic strips. Yep, you heard me right. I've been dreaming about doing this for a while, and I finally took the plunge into making some original, fan-made stories set in our favorite alien cat-infested world. So grab your snacks, get comfy, and let's dive into the world of comics, creativity, and chaos cat style. Let's start with why I decided to create my own Kid vs. Cat comic strips. Kid vs. Cat ended too soon, and it's still on the Kid vs. Cat Wild Brain channel on YouTube. For those who do not know how many episodes Kid vs. Cat has, Kid vs. Cat has 52 episodes aired on YTV in Canada total, from 2008 to 2011, with each season having 26 episodes aired total, and there are 2 seasons aired total. Kid vs. Cat also previously aired on the Teen Spirit Pluto TV channel in the United States of America from 2021 to 2025, as Paramount Global-owned free streaming app Pluto TV removed the Teen Spirit channel from their lineup as of June 2025, which is also Pride Month. Other streaming services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney+, Hulu, HBO Max, Peacock, and Paramount Plus also do not have Kid vs. Cat available in the US. This is making Kid vs. Cat viewers, including me, continue to watch it on YouTube before making my own Kid vs. Cat comics. Let's be honest, we all wanted more episodes, more adventures, and definitely more Coop vs. Cat battles. And after watching the show dozens of times, I kept thinking, what if I continued the story myself? First, we're going to learn how to make Kid vs. Cat comic strips digitally. Now let's begin.
Coop! What is it
now? His cat is out to get me! Look! It drew plants and everything! I'm doomed!
First things first. I'm using 2D animated software on my laptop to draw Kid vs. Cat comics called Critter. I'm also using a DigiRoots pen that I bought on Amazon Prime using my Amazon gift card balance to also draw Kid vs. Cat comics on my laptop screen. A little surprised that I also do not have a drawing tablet to draw comics, but that's okay. I'm also using a touchpad to practice tracing Kid vs. Cat characters on my laptop in case I lose my drawing pen. I know what you're thinking. What about using Kid vs. Cat character images to help me save a little more time drawing? I'll start learning how to make Kid vs. Cat comic strip pages first. I'm now on Critter, and now I have to find the image size for a comic strip page to use. I'm starting a new image. It does not matter how many pixels I'm using. I can also go into comic templates, and then United States style comics template. Actually, I'm going to start making new pages using a US-style comic template. It's 2008 by 3071. Okay, I'm now into a new tab on Critter. I'm going to start using my DigiRoot drawing pen to draw some Kid vs. Cat characters I saw. But first, I'm using a touchpad to add a paint layer on Critter to draw in. I'm going to attempt to slowly trace a Kid vs. Cat character by using my DigiRoots pen and my phone showing Kid vs. Cat stuff. After finishing tracing, I'm going to add pictures of Kid vs. Cat characters to my Critter project by going to Layer, and then Import/Export, and then Import as Paint Layer, selecting the image I have, and also saving me a little more time to draw, and that's it. I then went to color Kid vs. Cat characters I drew using the Paint Bucket tool. But first, I need to use the color picker tool to help me save time selecting the color I saw, and that's it. Now let's talk about how I made them. First, I kept it simple. I started with rough pencil sketches, just basic panels with Coop, Cat, and other characters. I'm still using my touchpad, my pen, and Critter on my personal computer. I followed a US comic format to keep things short and snappy, just like Sunday newspaper comics. Here's my creative flow. Number 1. Story idea. Usually sparked by an episode or a meme. Number 2. Script. I write short dialogue that fits each character. Number 3. Thumbnail sketch. Tiny layout of the panels. Number 4. inking and coloring, using bold lines and the original show's color palette. And number 5, lettering. Fonts matter. I used the Daniel font to make it look good. And yes, I made sure Cat still had that evil glare, and Coop Buttenberger still had that I'm so done energy. "24 hours later, I made another Kid vs. Cat comic strip page on my own. This time it's my first Kid vs. Cat comic strip I made in spring 2025, Old Lady Munson Goes to Jail. I began tracing Old Lady Munson on Quitter using my pen and my touchpad. I did the same thing with Dennis Chan in my next Kid vs. Cat comic strip page I also made. No matter how much time I spent, I only spent less than 2 hours making a Kid vs. Cat comic strip page. It actually took me less than 90 minutes to make those. I had to draw the scenes on the sketch layer, and then also add more paint layers to draw Kid vs. Cat characters on those. To make Kid vs. Cat characters talk without using audio-only files, I had to add speech bubbles to my comic strip pages using another paint layer. I'm using a touchpad to add speech bubbles to those. After adding speech bubbles, I'm adding vector layers to add text to my Kid vs. Cat comics on Quitter. I made yet another Kid vs. Cat comic strip page, and I used the same things on Quitter to finish in less than 90 minutes. I even began drawing Coop from Kid vs. Cat without tracing too, while practicing my next Kid vs. Cat comic strip to be ready, and also taking a moment to think of other things I can draw. Who commented on one of my Talking Kid vs. Cat podcast episodes on YouTube? I wonder who that is. Drumroll, please. Yvonne Lewis commented on my first Talking Kid vs. Cat podcast episode, Let the Show Start Over on YouTube, and said this.
That cat is going down.
Sadly, this show has been long forgotten by everyone except Wild Blaine's few farming channels that re-upload the same episodes over and over again. I'm thankful that I now have the chance to see full HD, high-definition episodes, which were impossible to get back in the day. But I'm sorry, the Mr. B treatment coming from WB, Warner Brothers, is just disrespectful and depressing to me. Knowing that they only seem to care about squeezing the poor show for a few views. Children from YouTube kids with no prospects for a third season. Yvonne Lewis became the first person to comment on my first Talking Kid vs. Cat podcast episode, Let the Show Start Over on YouTube. And then I responded, that's too many darn episodes I saw Wild Blaine post. Yvonne Lewis responded to my comment saying, the show only has 2 seasons, so they re-upload them in different ways. They compile them into movies or marathons, just like they do with that stupid Mr. Bean cartoon. Mindless children, possibly not even older than 4, do not care as long as they have something to watch like freaking Cocomelon, so they'll rewatch the same thing over and over again, feeding the algorithm. Forget them. And that is all the comments I read, and I'm also all caught up on those at the moment. Well, now I'm ready to get back to work. I'm gonna continue making Kid vs. Cats comics while waiting for others to comment on my other Talking Kid vs. Cat podcast episodes. As I resume making Kid vs. Cat Old Lady Munson Goes to Jail on Quitter, I also do not have AI-generated voices for Coop, Dennis, Old Lady Munson, the police officer, or others yet. Hopefully someone is available to make their own Coop Buttenberger, Dennis Chan, or Old Lady Munson voiceover. Almost nobody has any Kid vs. Cat AI-generated voices at the moment. Let's talk about the voice actors of Kid vs. Cat. For those who do not know who voiced Kid vs. Cat characters, I'll tell exactly who voiced them. Coop Buttenberger is voiced by Erin Matthews, a Canadian voice actress who graduated from the Studio 58 theater program. Mr. Cat and Millie Buttenberger are voiced by Kathleen Barr, another Canadian voice actress. Coop's dad, Bert, is voiced by Trevor Duvall. Dennis Lawrence Chan is voiced by Kathleen Leeslek. Old Lady Munson is voiced by Linda Sorensen. Henry Chan is voiced by Vincent Tong. Phoebe and Miss Brannigan are voiced by Tabitha St. Germain. The last voice actor I saw, according to Kid vs. Cat Wikipedia page, is Chiara Zanni. Sean Zanny voiced Fiona Munson for Kid vs. Kat Season 2. But who will be the voice actors for Kid vs. Kat or Woody Munson Goes to Jail? I don't know yet. You can also email me your voice lines for Kid vs. Kat or Woody Munson Goes to Jail. My email address is mrdemoncat8@gmail.com. I'm gonna resume watching Kid vs. Kat and also hear exactly what Woody Munson's voice sounds like.
Your juvenile delinquent son stole all of my confiscated toys and kidnapped Tom Tunnels!
Did you hear that? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Now I need to have someone else make an audio file of what Woody Munson says in Kid vs. Kat or Woody Munson Goes to Jail. I also appeared in that too, but I've also not yet set up what I said yet. I became a human being looking at Coop and Woody Munson outside, and then later pulling my phone out and calling 911. I met the police officers in Woody Munson Goes to Jail in the next page I made. Based on the Kid vs. Kat episode, Coop D. Tot, I drew Woody Munson meeting the policeman wearing dark blue clothes outside. I even drew the same person wearing dark blue putting her in handcuffs. So right as I finished watching police body cam videos online or on YouTube, I began learning how to draw a man taking Woody Munson to the police car inside. I was also able to draw a picture of the county jail's place on Twitter without using the videos I watched. As soon as Woody Munson goes inside Bootsville County Jail, I also drew what a county jail looks like inside on Twitter on my laptop. So right as I'm halfway there to finishing Kid vs. Kat or Woody Munson Goes to Jail, I also researched which foods a county jail offers to eat. The chef looking at the cafeteria I drew has offered Woody Munson some foods she has not yet eaten. He offered Woody Munson some breakfast, lunch, dinner, specifically some chicken, rice, apples, fruits, vegetables, garlic, some vanilla and chocolate ice cream, some sauces, pizza, chocolate milk, orange juice, and so much more. After lunch, I drew Woody Munson doing the dirty clothes to wash in the laundry room and added detergent to the washer. Back at Coop's house, I redrew Dennis and he tuned into 97.1 FM on a portable AM/FM radio receiver. The last page I made in Kid vs. Kat or Woody Munson Goes to Jail is the same living escaping after 1 month. Moving on to the final page, I put the end screens on page 22, and I also said thank you for reading on page 22. This took me over 30 days to finish my first Kid vs. Kat comic, Woody Munson Goes to Jail. Okay, moving on to my next ideas about my second Kid vs. Kat comic strip, and this took me less than 20 days to do the title. It's my second Kid vs. Kat comic I also made, Grown Up Fiona. My second Kid vs. Kat comic strip, Grown Up Fiona, is about Fiona Munson, who became a tall girl and also became an adult. I used the same programs on my computer to make Kid vs. Kat Grown Up Fiona. My second Kid vs. Kat comic strip also does not feature Coop or Mr. Cat, but features Fiona, Phoebe, Kyle, and other characters I saw appear. Starting off with page 1, the splash screen shows Fiona Munson herself. Moving on to page 2, I also drew Fiona's hair without a ponytail on Twitter digitally. I did not want to do it on paper, but I drew Fiona hearing the alarm clock go off and make it stop by pressing the snooze button. She gets dressed, then does her hair in ponytail in the bathroom mirror. She goes downstairs to have Cocoa Puffs for breakfast as I continue making Kid vs. Kat Grown Up Fiona comic strip pages. Fiona Munson also had a bottle of sparkling water to make herself cool down for a hot sunny day. I drew Fiona going for a walk until this happened. Fiona met me in page 4 of Kid vs. Kat Grown Up Fiona.
I'm Fiona. You must be Coop, the rotten kid who lives next door who still wets his pants.
In page 5 of Kid vs. Kat Grown Up Fiona, I also saw Fiona walk away from me and later met Phoebe in person. I tried calling Fiona from Kid vs. Kat. Well, she finally answered my phone after 1.5 hours. And I also made Fiona meet Kyle in person. Speaking of Kyle, I also do not have a voice actor for Kyle Dustin yet. If you watch My Kid vs. Cat, but only when Kyle is on screen video on my main YouTube channel, you'll probably hear exactly what Kyle's voice sounds like at the end. There's fewer lines that I hear Kyle make in Kid vs. Cat so far. Now it's him doing more of them in Kid vs. Cat Grown Up Fiona. Kyle began talking to Fiona using his voice. As they went inside the fast food restaurant called A's Burgers, I also drew on Quitter. Fiona and Kyle paid medium to high restaurant prices using cash or their credit cards, with inflation rising in the US. Fiona and Kyle's burgers are topped with pickles, onions, ketchup, mustard, extra dip, some beef, and yellow cheese. And they also purchased a large soda too. After finishing eating, Fiona and Kyle began skateboarding outside. They also changed into their summer outfits before going to the beach. Kyle saw Fiona in her bikini, as I also resumed drawing Kid vs. Cat comic strip pages. And what if I made Phoebe be in her summer outfit outside? So right as I finished drawing Fiona and Phoebe being together, I also went on to feature myself in Kid vs. Cat Grown Up Fiona as a human being again. I also drew myself being in a man's business uniform at the broadcast booth watching Fiona play basketball. Fiona Munson also went back home during nighttime hours, and also met Kyle and Miss Brannigan in Kid vs. Cat Grown Up Fiona. So later at the end of the second Kid vs. Cat comic strip I made, I also drew Fiona having dinner with them, and then later going to sleep at 9 p.m. My second Kid vs. Cat comic strip, Grown Up Fiona, is now finished. But what am I gonna do with those first two Kid vs. Cat comics I made? Let's upload my own Kid vs. Cat comics, Old Lady Munson Goes to Jail, and Grown Up Fiona to Divine Art and Webtoon. I've also exported all my own Kid vs. Cat comic strip pages I made digitally to my laptop using the JPG, JPEG, and PNG files. Let's go to the Divine Art website first. I publish all my own Kid vs. Cat comic strip pages into my Divine Art account in the Gallery tab. Next, I'm going to webtoons.com. I had to create my Webtoon account first before publishing my first two Kid vs. Cat comics there. On Webtoon, I had to split each of my Kid vs. Cat comics into 3 episodes. I've also had to be over 18 years or older to become a Webtoon comic creator. Well, I finally did it. I finally made my own Kid vs. Cat comic strips in 2025. Both Old Lady Munson Goes to Jail and Grown Up Fiona are now available to read for free exclusively on my Divine Art and Webtoon pages. No subscription required. Both of these Kid vs. Cat comics I also published on Webtoon are rated teens 13+. Has this ever happened to you? You were busy watching the same Kid vs. Cat episodes over and over again, at home, on a business trip, on the road, far from home, no matter where you are. You miss Kid vs. Cat so much, and you also miss their show's creator and director, Robert Bertolli, so much too. Robert Bertolli decided not to do Kid vs. Cat Season 3 in 2012 because he was too busy creating other shows like Packages from Planet X, Chuck's Choice, Snoopy in Space, etc. Robert Bertolli also did not make any Kid vs. Cat comic strips. I did in 2025. Nearly 14 years later, after the show's end, I became a Kid vs. Cat comic strip creator. I finished watching all 52 episodes of Kid vs. Cat. I also saw someone else make their own Kid vs. Cat comic strips, and then later posted on Divine Art 2 in 2025. Only the first 2 pages of a third Kid vs. Cat comic I also read on Divine Art so far. The third Kid vs. Cat comic that features Coop, Dennis, Fiona, and Mr. Cat being inside the UFO is also not made by me, and is now looking to have a crossover with Phineas and Ferb or other animated shows. Fiona Munson, Noy Bernberger, and Mr. Cat was also not featured in my own first Kid vs. Cat comic strip, Old Lady Munson Goes to Jail. It is not known if physical Kid vs. Cat comics will also be at local Los Angeles or Southern California comic book stores near me. I know some of you might also be using Bluetooth headphones to hear comic dubs. I'll tell you exactly how you can make your own Kid vs. Cat comics. Are you thinking about making your own Kid vs. Kat comics too? Here are some tips. Number 1, start small. Even a single panel joke counts. Number 2, use screenshots as references if you are stuck on how characters look. Number 3, write first, draw later. It'll keep your flow clear. Number 4, have fun. It's your take on the world. Do not stress it being perfect. Number 5, share it online. Post it to fandom spaces or social media platforms like Facebook, X formerly Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, or Kid vs. Kat fan pages. I'd love to see what you come up with. Maybe we could even collaborate on a mini fan comic someday. And that wraps up for episode 5 of my Talking Kid vs. Kat podcast. If you enjoyed it, share it with a fellow fan and leave a comment about my own Kid vs. Kat comics. Also follow Talking Kid vs. Kat podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and other platforms. Until then, stay creative, keep drawing, and remember, never trust a hairless cat with a space helmet. I'm your host, Mr. Dina Cat. Catch you next time. Goodbye.